Hello, guys. I'm sorry I was taking a swallow of my drink. This is Paula, and today we're going to do um, a different kind of little project. We're going to make a little book out of Project Life cards. So let's get started. Now, what I already did these two. This is just a piece of chipboard cut to 1 inch. And it is 6 inches long to match the Project Life cards. Okay. And I covered both sides. What I did, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put glue in the middle and put these down. Okay. Face to face. Okay, and then we're going to glue them onto these papers and trim. I want to have this in the background, and you'll see why in just a second. So the first thing we need to do is put our glue on here. Now, we may or may not get all of this done. I'm going to work hard to see if we can. But, you know how it is. You don't ever know how long something's going to take, especially when you didn't do it ahead of time. Just FYI. Now, I have made ones similar to this a long time ago, but I don't remember where I saw it or anything. But I know Rachel over at Roxy Creations did something that really inspired me, similar to this. So I didn't come up with this. I'm sure there's several people that have done it. Okay, now we have both our pieces glued nice and square, both our cards. Now we're going to bring our text, the text paper over, and we're going to do the same thing, only I'm trying to use up this glue, can you tell? And you know what? I think I forgot to open up any more. Lovely. We'll use something else if we can't get this to work. This is coming out. It is going to cooperate or else, right? It can surely get me down to the end of this card. And I'm going to keep it going here, so maybe I'll have enough to cover this other side before we run completely out. Normally, I would pick it up and press the other one down, but I just want to make sure this takes care of what we need here. Now, that's messy, but that's okay. Now, I'm going to hold this up so I can see in the light. Let me, just a second. Because I didn't push that one down, I'm trying to get centered on this, and I have to get up in the light to do that. I think that's good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. I know you guys hear me say that all the time. But I didn't get to put a video up yesterday because it's crazy. The weather has been crazy. I can't get in here and get anything done when I have some free time, and it's been pretty nuts. Okay, so now we've got those glued down, and I did use Fabri-Tac just because I wanted it to be fast, you know. I hope that I cut this right. Now I'm going to trim around it, and then we can always come back in and do a clean trim if we're off a little, because I really can't see where I'm cutting. If you do it, if you cover the cards in text one at a time, you can see exactly where you need to trim up against. I hope this is straight. It's straight enough. Hey, that's not too bad for doing it blindly. Okay, so I'm going to try to get as close as I can on all of these. Make sure we're as close to the Project Life card, trimmed up against it, no loose text. I hope you guys have been having a good day. I've had my granddaughter. She was really good. But it's still We're still a ways off on that one. Right there. It's called blind cutting because I don't know what I'm cutting. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not cutting into the card itself. And this is the reason I did the other side and did the spine. They're done identical to this. Only I do recommend you do one side of the card at a time. And on the spine, I just wrapped one text paper around it. Just put glue on both sides and wrapped it. Okay, so I think, except right here, I didn't get this corner. Okay. All right. Okay. Just had Charlie passing through. He's coming up with a project. He told me he was making a project. He's out of school. Yesterday was their last day. And, of course, with the storms, I think it was earlier than yesterday. Most schools had to, most of the schools in the area of the flood had to close. The flood is still going on. They are not finished yet emptying. The Corps of Engineer is still emptying water from the dam. And that's what's flooding everybody's house. But they don't have, you know, there's times and situations they have to do that. And it was an urgent situation. So, yep, I remember those days. Okay, so here we go. We've got this on here. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to put this as the back one. And this can be the front one. Okay, now we're going to do it like we do any other book. We're going to leave a space like this. Do you guys see that? Can you see that okay? Okay, we're going to leave a space like that. But I want to take it and put it, got to make sure my paper's in the right direction. This is Tim Holtz tissue, and I am going to move this over and lay this tissue wrong side up. This is the right side, but I want the images to be upright on the wrong side. Because what we're going to do, this is 6 inches tall, and it's exactly the height of the Project Life cards. So it's not like we're going to wrap it around them or anything. We may have to come up with something else. But this is what I'm using. It's collage paper, the botanical. So we're going to use some Mod Podge in this project. But what we're going to do is I'm going to try, I don't know how successful this will be, but we can sure try. I'm going to try to line this up really straight on here. And I want to be able to wrap this over to the inside and see what we come up with. Now, again, you're going to have paper hang out a little bit on the top and bottom probably. So let's line this up right here. We've got a line on our tissue and everything. How much easier could that be? And you don't have to leave a whole lot of space there because this is not going to be like a gigantic book. So I think the first thing we'll do is put the spine down, okay? So you've got your tissue wrong side up, but you want it to be in the upright position, and you want your letters on your text to be in the upright position. Same on your spine. That way you everything will be in the right direction. I hope I can get this brush to work. It's about to fall apart. I just keep having faith in it. I keep having faith that it's gonna be just fine. Okay, so I did wet my brush, so this is not super thick. I didn't want to have to, I'll have it all over me though before it's said and done. I didn't want it to be so thick that you couldn't move it fast enough to get it where you needed it to be. Okay, so now we're going to turn this down, and like I said, we're going to use that line since we've got it there, and we're going to put it on that tissue just like if it were fabric. We're going to do this just like if it was fabric. Okay? And then you're going to take it and you're going to push it down and make sure it's adhering on the other side. We're not going to move it and look. We're just going to press really good. If you want to get a brayer out, you can. But I think it's thin enough that we don't have to do that. Now we're going to put the Mod Podge on this other side. Okay. And spread it out as fast as you can. You know, Mod Podge starts drying pretty easy. And it's going to ripple up your text paper, but that's okay because I just wanted that there to show the text through the tissue rather than showing the multicolored cards that I had. I didn't have cards that matched or didn't have, you know, I didn't have them the same color with the same saying and so forth. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Makes sense to me. And it will when we're done here. Okay, now you want to line it up with a little bit of a space so that you have room to lay this down. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to worry about anything seeping out. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff because we're going to go back over that other side in a minute. Okay, so we're going to do this side and put it down now. Oops, wrong thing. Dipping in the wrong bottle. It's dipping in the water. Get down in here. All right, so you can also take your Mod Podge around the outside to kind of get the parts that are drippy. And again, make sure your text is upright and put it the same amount of space apart as the other one. I'm going to be anxious to see what it looks like on the other side. Let's hope we don't have any wrinkles. Let's just look real quick. Make sure we're not sticking to the parchment paper. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Got a little bit right here. But we might be able to get that out. Let's see. We're not going to put a heavy coat back here because after I put this coat on the right side of the book, I'm going to dry it with the blow dryer. And then when we're done doing that, we're going to add the tissue onto the other side. If we don't like the way this looks when it's all said and done, we'll just do another one and use cardstock. I think the tissue will work just as easy as cardstock, and I think I used cardstock on the one I made before. And you don't want to saturate it too much. As I'm doing it, I'm saturating it. Just want it to be enough that it holds it down well on both sides. Now, because it is cardboard and it is tissue, it's not as sturdy as what fabric would be, so we have to be, you know, somewhat careful because it will tear if you pick it up wrong or any of that. It's going to tear. So Ooh, we're nice and sticky everywhere. Okay, now I want to be able just to fold that over when we get done drying it here. Let me get the dryer. Hopefully it will come out without any problems. Sometimes I can't get it out here. All right, sorry for the noise. Now we are going to reinforce the spine. This tissue is not going to be all that keeps the two sides together. I just wanted it to all go together in one piece so it was easier to handle. And I feel like that, you know, we were able to do that. I hope all of you have gotten your children out of school and ready for the summer. Our pool opened yesterday or the day before. The kids were out there having a blast. And Lucy's already gone to a swimming party. The day school was let out, she had gone to a swimming party. Now this really does dry fast, like, you know, more so than you would think. I wanted this to kind of be like when you do mixed media. You know how you can put layers on it? So if you look, you can see the text through my tissue. See? And that was what I was going for. And I think it's dry enough that we can flip it over, carefully flip it over, and don't pick it up by the end, pick it up by your, yeah. And that way we can do this inside. Now my goal on doing the inside is to pull this in as much as I can. Now remember, I say that, and as I say it, hopefully I won't do it. You want to get it folded over. You might have to use your hand underneath to keep from tearing it, but that's how I want it to look right there. So let's start on that portion. So what do you guys have planned for summer vacations? Rick and I haven't planned anything. You know, we're not much of planners. Well, that's not true. When we plan a big vacation, we do plan. But we're not planning on anything huge this year. And we're going to be spending our time getting our bathtub in and all the bathroom stuff fixed and the new hot water heater. And we're going to get one of those tankless. I've heard that they're really great. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to the spine because this paper just happens to be long enough for us to do that. And I am dropping some down into the crack between the two things, just so gently, because that will tear so easy. It's one thing I like about Mod Podge. You don't have to, you don't really have to. I'm going to try to see if I can get this on here straight. You know, it's going to wrinkle up some. It's going to bubble up some. It's not really a perfect thing to do. You just kind of got to go with what you end up with. Now see, there is some bubbles. I really want, I hope this isn't sticking too bad. I might have to turn that over in a minute. It's not looking too awfully bad, huh? And we've got it over here on our spine. Now, before I pull that over, I'm going to have to put some of the Mod Podge right underneath here, so this part can go down. And then I'm just going to go down in that groove and kind of make it stay down maybe. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and Mod Podge on this last portion. You know, Mod Podge is just like Elmer's glue and water. That's about all it is. I don't know what else is in it, but I took a class once with a lady who was a teacher, and she said, that's all in the world this is it is just Elmer's glue. I didn't know. Don't ask me. I don't know those things. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to go ahead and just take what's left over onto the spine area, because that's going to be covered anyway. So I'm going to see if I can get this to not stick down. I'm going to fold this paper over a little bit. Okay, see if that helps or not. I don't know. We got to put a coat on this side, and everything is very, very wet. Just so you know, everything is very, very wet at this point. Okay, and I would just say do it as fast as you can and as lightweight as you can. Don't overdo it. It's going to take us a while to dry it as it is. I really haven't planned on what to do around the you know how when these dry, they will get much harder. And you know how it has that cool, I love the way it feels once everything's dry. Getting to the bottom of this bottle. Won't be long. The key to not tearing this, I have found, I mean, it doesn't always work, but is to keep a steady stroke going and don't push down hard. Okay, now let's see if I can lift this up a little bit. I'm going to try to dry this while holding it in my hand. I got Mod Podge on my mat. I guess I should wipe that up real quick. Got to get me a drink. And off we go. We're going to heat this up. Looks kind of cool, doesn't it? Now, basically what we've got here is a cardboard book or a chipboard book. Well, actually, the only thing chipboard is the spine. I'm trying to not let my fingers stick to the back portion because it's still sticky back there. And I think there is a chance we may have to put tissue around the edges. Not the outside edges, just the top and the bottom. once this dries, because it's going to want to separate from the project life cards. Trying to stick to me. I'm trying to turn it around here. Since my cord on my heater is not super long. I don't know if you guys have your craft room like me, where you just have so many cords. You're just happy if you can get it plugged in. I don't want to talk because I don't want to scream over this and make it any louder for you guys. This is getting real close to being where I can put it down. Let's see where we're at here. Ah, sticky, sticky. It's still sticky, but look how fun. Can you see the shine on it? Now, this is, when it dries, now your spine, the attaching the spine to this is not going to be strong, but this feels lovely. I love the way that feels. And I really am liking the way it's turning out. Now I'm going to lay it right here on some that's not all sticky while we decide, oops, right there is, which side's the outside? This is the outside. This is the inside. See, you got to watch right here. My little, the little spine area is wanting to come up, which it's just paper. I mean, tissue. It can go back over. You can just kind of push it back over. And the reason I say that is we're going to cover it. We're going to cover it. Now, the color of fabric is the big question here. I like this, but I also like the gray. It makes it kind of dark, and I really wanted to kind of make it more airy. Then I have some blue with flower, or kind of a pale blue. I don't know that that's what I want. And then I've got this. I don't want that. I tried to bring out my pale colors to go with the paper I'm working with. Now see, I like that too. Oh my. Oh my, which one? And then here we have a smaller floral, which I kind of like that. Or we've got just this plain blue. I like that too. So let me see. I have one more to hold up there. We've got this that just kind of has a cool design. Ooh, that's it. That's the one. That's the winner right there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, when this is completely dry, I will stitch around it. And probably will use a black, which I changed my thread today to dark brown. Oh well. And I kind of like that this has the pinking shears around it. But the one thing I don't like is it's too wide. So we need to not do it super wide. I'm trying to find an area that's not so folded. That's not so, you know, wrinkled. I want it to lay down better than that. So half of this is probably an inch, which see is going to be too short. So we're going to have to do an inch and a half. So I'm going to mark that real quick over here. You might not be able to see me. I'm just marking it on my measuring mat here, and I'm just going to kind of, yeah, I wanted to mark where that would be. So see, if you look at this is 2 inches, so it's going to be about 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches. Let me see. No, actually it's 2.5 inches wide. So we're going to use 1.5 inches. And that's going to be pushing it. Now that I look at it, see, right here's the mark. I think we're going to have to go out further. We're probably going to have to go to 3 or to 2 inches. So you need a 2-inch piece of fabric. Now, the one thing is that, like I said, I didn't do this ahead of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fabric scissors and I'm going to just hold this up here and eyeball it, and I'm going to leave about 1/2 inch off of both sides. And I'm going to cut 2 of these, okay? One for the inside of the spine and one for the outside. Okay. Now, I'm not going to try to, I'm going to cover this up real quick so I don't knock this Mod Podge over and we have a disaster. I think we're done with our Mod Podge. Okay, so still a little sticky, but this is going to be the inside. So let's do the outside. I think we would do it first, right? Okay. This one seems to be flattened a little better. I think I'm going to take a little bit off. Let me get my pinking shears. I'm terrible at cutting straight. That's the only thing about me doing it. So I'm going to fold it over like this. And we know that we want 2 inches. So that looks about like 2 inches, doesn't it? Doesn't it? And then I'm just going to kind of put a pencil mark. This is called eyeballing. If you want to measure and have it all measured out and laid out before you get started, that's great. But I'm just going to eyeball it because, you know, we know that 2 inches is going to be a little big, but I'm going to mark it on this fabric so I can cut it with my pinking shears. And something else I need to do that I didn't do is I need to open up my other bottle of glue. Because, let's see. Yeah, I think that's where I can see. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there is a line right there. Okay. I haven't used these scissors, but maybe 2 or 3 times. I finally broke down and bought some. I never had used them before. And I can't remember what I made that made me go out and get them. Okay, now, I'm not going to do the ends until I know for sure how much I need to do of them. Okay, so on this one, we had marked it. So we had decided to go like this. It's hard to wrestle fabric when it wants to do its own thing. I'm going to finger press my fabric down here. and hope that I get everything nice and straight. All right, now I'm going to take my pencil and just kind of make little marks, you know, the best you can. The main thing is that even if your mark is crooked, you know by looking to straighten it up, right? I'm going to look here and see if I marked it the same way. No. So I know I need to go inside this little line. And we'll just keep our fingers crossed that these are going to be the right size. Let's see if this one and this one match. Pretty close. That has to be a first. Okay. Now we are going, this side is drier than the inside. I think I'm going to hit this again. It's really wet. Sorry guys. We don't want to tear it when it's, I mean, when it's just sticky, it's one thing. You still got to be careful. But when it's still wet to the touch, more than sticky, all our work would be in vain if we tore it. There's an air pocket right here, watch. See that come up? Yeah, I might have to put a little bit of Mod Podge on there when I'm after I do the spine and let it dry a little bit. You know, that happens with when you're using fabric. You get that little bit sticking, you know. But that's okay. We're letting it kind of sit there for a minute. And yeah, that's going to look good, guys. That's going to look good. Okay. I am going to take the lid off. If you've never opened up Fabri-Tac, I'll show you while I'm doing this. This would be for very new people. You just take the lid off. If you can't get it to work, it's got a seal. Get some kind of pokey tool. And I have a particular one I get. It's got a little curve on it. This is a ceramic. What you use to do ceramics. And I did ceramics a short time. My mother-in-law had a kiln, and she loved doing ceramics. So I got a few of the tools in order to do that with her. And you just take and wipe it off your little tool and put it back. Okay, now what's aggravating is if you can look in here, see, you can still see there's that much glue in this thing. I don't know what its problem is. It just likes to get thick. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this over here. I think I'm going to try putting it on the table now. Maybe it won't stick so bad. And if it does give me problems, I'll get that back out. Oh, I love the way that feels. Okay, so we're going to line. This has already got the pinking shears on this side, so this is not going to wrap around completely. Well, it needs to. And you know, really looking at it, I'm learning this as we go along too, just so you know. I didn't plan this ahead of time. I just figured we could learn it together or figure it out together. Just came up with this in my brain today. Okay, so I think what we need to do is put some more, maybe put some tissue around here. I don't have black tissue. So I think what we're going to have to do is just use this same thing. We'll do the fabric on the next. Ugh, I just got my finger right in the big middle of that Mod Podge. Okay, so we'll do it like this. We'll take our spool of tissue. There's like, Tim Holtz has like 4 different kinds of this, I believe. Now, because it is the long side that we need, I'm just going to cut off the same length as the book. Anything left over, I'll probably slap it on some tags and make tags with it, because I don't like to waste anything. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim it. Like, I figure we can trim it straight with regular scissors so that we don't have, and I'm thinking about 1 inch. So cut about 1 inch off the long side of your tissue so that it's going to be the length of your book. And when I say length, I mean the length of both sides of your book. And I got that a little crooked right there, and that doesn't look like 1 inch, does it? I'm wondering if I don't need to do more. Well, it started off 1 inch, and then it ended up who knows what. Okay, so let's just do another one. I would rather be big than for it to be too small, because it's just going to blend in anyway. It's not going to look as beautiful as it does right now. I mean, seriously. Okay, and then we'll do another one like that. And we might just have enough for a tag. I won't do it on camera. I'll do it off camera. You guys have seen how to decoupage a tag before. Now, okay, so here we go. I'm going to open up the decoupage again, because obviously I didn't think this part through. I didn't think any of it through, honestly. But I'm going to wipe off my brush. It's been soaking in this water. This brush is going in the trash after this little, look at this part here. See it? It's about to fall off. And it has fell off. But I just kept forcing it to live. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we'll start here on the bottom. Let's see, which one of these do I want to use? Well, neither one of them really are going to do much, but so I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to hold this in my hand. We're working with the wrong side right now. Maybe we should do the outside. Yeah, I think that's smarter. That way we can get it straighter. So I'm just going to put Mod Podge along the edge. And hopefully everything will lay down there without any problems. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this tissue and lay it across here. Now again, all you're going to need on here is like a 1/2 inch or so, you know. Once you blend it all in, it should just kind of blend in and all look like pretty much one design. I mean, it won't be perfect, but it's going to be as perfect as we can get it. Whoops. And because we have to do this, it's going to slow down the process here. Sorry, guys. But we're learning something. We're actually learning something together. I figured this couldn't be all that hard, you know. Now, I'm going to hit it with the dryer just for a second. Well, actually, I think I'm going to do the other side and then hit it with an iron or the heat tool. That way we're working with both the up and down side of the book. I was trying to decide what kind of book I wanted this to be. I want to, you know, of course, showcase Tracy's digital stuff. She is such a good person to work with. Okay, here is, so if you're not watching Tracy's channel, you need to run over there and start watching her. She's amazing. Okay, and she's amazing at designing all her stuff. So pretty. It's at Love Junk Journal on Etsy. Same name for YouTube. Love Junk Journal. All one name for Etsy. I mean, all together, one word. Don't put any spaces. Okay. Now we're going to turn our heat on. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to heat it enough that we can turn it over. Now, I don't know if you notice it or not, but already, if you look here, already, you can't tell that I put that paper up there. Not really. It's blending really well. You would have to really study it to know that. Now this little book will be a book we actually could put a couple small signatures in. We want this to be super dry before we try to do that. Because it would really snag everything pretty good if we tried that. Okay, I'm going to turn it around and we're going to hit this other side. And in the meantime, be looking at how good that looks. Now this side is more obvious right here. But that's going to be the back. Who cares? That's going to be the back. But we also do have a wrinkle right here on the front. It was there whenever I turned the book over. But that's okay. And if you look, you can see where the papers overlapped right there. I may have this on the back side. I don't remember. I'm just going to go with it, whichever side looks the best. Okay, so we're going to let that be as good as it gets right there. And we're going to turn it over. Oh, this paper's folded over a little bit right here. You have to watch your corners because I'm sure I blew that right in there with the dryer. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to go down right here and put the Mosh Podge along the edge. My husband just came in and spooked me. Shame on you. Anyway, so you look, if you're looking for the DOG, I think she is conked out from the children being here today. When the kids are here, she just, it's more than she can handle in one day. Okay. So I'm going to fold that up. See if I can get it up there straight without it folding. And then, yeah. This side may not be quite as pretty as the other side, but it's close. I mean, it's going right up there without any problems whatsoever. Look at that. Now, we're going to add a little bit of Mod Podge over this now so that it can have a chance to begin drying. All right, so we'll let that dry while we do the other side here. Just do the same thing. We're just going to put a little bit of Mod Podge along the rim of the bottom of the book. And this is really, the purpose of this is to keep it from separating from the top, you know, the bottom and the top. So I just don't want it to, you know, the papers to start separating. And this will help keep everything closed down on each other. Yeah, now that one went down a lot smoother. And once it dries, it should be fine too. Now, on those edges that you can see sticking out here on each side, I don't know what we're going to do with those yet. We may just cut them off and go on our merry way. It doesn't have to be, you know, the most perfect thing in the world. All right, now let's see what a little bit of blow drying will do, and then we won't have to blow dry anymore, hopefully. So today is Friday. I know everybody's happy to have the weekend. We are forecasted to have rain the next 4 days. Isn't that lovely? Now, not constantly, so that's good. But you know, the people that are flooding want to get things done. Although the floodwaters are not going to go down. It'll be a week or longer before they can even go into their homes and see what damage there is. And that's sad. Because I mean, you have to be able to take a boat to your house. The only reason I know this is we've been there. And I will tell you another thing that's creepy about it. You have to get tetanus shots. You know, if you're working around or in the water, you know, like walking through the water without your shoes, which, I didn't have rubber boots, but my husband did, and my brother-in-law did, and my sister lived next door, so we have video of us. We were so young. My husband carrying me on his back, and her husband carrying her on her back, and the both of them had rubber boots. I mean, you do what you got to do. But you know, the nice thing about the whole thing is the community comes out and you have people coming by your house all day long for like 2 weeks after the flood waters are gone. The Red Cross and people come by in trucks bringing food, cases of water, so you have clean water. And so it's a nightmare. We had to, I think I told you guys this in my last video, but we had to have $20,000 or more, closer to $30,000 worth of work done. And at that time, I don't even know, I don't remember if we had flood insurance or not. I don't think we did because, oh yeah, we didn't, because we had had it every year we were married until that year. And that was the one year my husband did not meet with our agent. He just told him, don't change anything. And then stuck his policy in the drawer. That was the first mistake. Just a little information. If you are in a flood zone, even in every 100 year or even every 500 year, they're going to tell you it's not required for you to have flood insurance, you know, because you're not in a flood area that's going to happen all the time. And then that's where they get you. You have to end up getting a loan from FEMA. FEMA will come around probably after a week. I'm sure they're already there, but they'll come around and they'll start making appointments for people to... I'm just trimming this off straight, and I think it's going to look great because there's so much Mod Podge underneath it, you know. Ooh, I wish you guys could feel this. Feels really cool. And anyway, it's not a fun time. My niece is going through it right now. She is one person that I know is out in the flood area. And I hate it for them because, you know, been there, done that, and it wasn't fun. Okay, so this is our right side. Let me bend this while it's still kind of wet. Look at our little book. It's coming together. And I'm going to check our time. And so this is all we're going to get done in this video. But I'm going to come back and we're going to do a second video. And we can then decorate however we would like. Not decorate, but complete this. We're going to have to stitch it. So what we will do, I'll show you. We've got a couple minutes. I'll show you. Let's see which side's which. This is the front side. Okay, I always like to start with the front. I'm not real crazy about how this part came out because it made my word upside down right here. But other than that, the front looks pretty good. You just always want to think about what the front of the cover will look like. This one didn't turn out that great because it didn't have anything to attach to. So, you know, just have to play it by ear and see what happens. That's the inside. No, I want that to be the... See, this is where I get confused. No, I want that to be the inside. This side looks better to be the outside right here. Okay, that's the outside. Now, we're going to take this, lay it flat. And as soon as this is dry enough for me to use on my sewing machine, I will stitch this. And I'm showing you this because we're not going to do this on camera. Well, maybe we can. We'll see. We might be able to because we could fold this over. I'm looking here to see. I'm thinking that I'm just going to tack it down with a little bit of glue. Down, you know, not like what you would for an actual book, big book, but just want to center your spine on this 2-inch strip. Right here is where your spine is. And then this is the inside. So we could go ahead and attach this down. And we could even attach it down with some washi or whatever, or just glue. And then we'll take the other side while this is down, and we'll take it and do like this, just like we would do for a regular book. I'm questioning whether I like this color. I also have a little bit of, how's this look instead? I like that better. Do you guys like that better? I do. I like it much better. The script is the other direction, but I still like it better. I think instead of using the pinking shears, although I do like the way they look, it'll keep it from fraying quite as bad. So we're going to use this, and instead of cutting 2 pieces, we're going to cut 1 long piece so we can, it's only going to be 2 inches wide though. one long piece like this, and then we're going to tuck this one under, and then we're going to wrap around and connect right here. And it won't be as wide. And another little thing for you to know is we're going to take and stitch it. We're going to stitch this part first, up and down. I'm going to put a little dab of glue straight down the middle, and then we're going to stitch this side, and we're going to stitch this side just to the inside of the book right here. Okay, and we'll do that first thing, and then we'll do the stitching to the actual book. And I don't know, that looks like it could be wide enough. Or do you think it would be? It's a lot of hangover. So we'll not do that. I'll go ahead and trim this down to 2 inches. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you'll come back and watch part 2. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll go from there and see what happens next. Who knows? I don't even know sometimes. See you next time. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for my subbies. I appreciate you guys so much. Give me a thumbs up if you had fun. Bye.